Welcome to Phoenixes Rising from the Ashes into Purpose. I am Tennille, your transitional coach, here to guide you through your journey back to higher self, the being the Most High created you to be by revealing the mental weeds that have kept you repeating toxic patterns. Once removed, I give you the tools to heal those wounds and grow back in its place God's truth about you. The goal is to get you walking in your purpose and power. I have available now an introductory course titled, So You've Fallen, Who Said You Can't Get Up? For only $97. To get started, just click on the link in the description box to enroll. Also, check out the Cluster B playlist where I describe the tactics Cluster B disordered creatures use to break down their targets so that they're pliable. I love feedback, so never be afraid to leave a comment on this playlist or my Blue Phoenix Rising documentary series. Season 1 of BPR is detailing how I became homeless. Season 2 will be up sometime this year, 2021, so please have patience. Again, leave a comment and let me know if you can relate to these topics. Subscribe and share with someone who needs to hear they're not alone. Let's begin. Phoenix is rising. Tennille here, and this podcast is not going to be about gang stalking and witchcraft, or at least not talking about the tactics. But I know that a lot of people are wondering, like, okay, so what happens after all is said and done? After I'm out of the relationship with the Cluster B personality, whether it be your work, your partner, relatives, when you cut off from them, there are some symptoms that you may experience. And we'll get to that. But first off, I want to let you guys know that I do offer one-on-one coaching for $85 for an hour. And also I have a course that is titled, So You've Fallen, Who Said You Can't Get Up? And that's $97. And with that course comes 4 free coaching sessions for a month, 45 minutes. And it's the course itself is for $97, but you're really saving like over $200. So it's my very first course, and I was very passionate about it once I got into my purpose and realized that this was teaching other people how to defeat their secrets, how to get through the gang stalking, how to survive a Cluster B personality if you're still in a relationship with them, and how to make sure that you don't get involved with another one. Like I said, they're all over the place. And one thing that I've realized is you block one and another one comes swooping in sometimes. That's been my experience. But hey, I'm not in a relationship. If they think that we're in a relationship, that's on them. But I am free. So, yeah. So these are, and I take my clients through Reveal, which is looking into and going in and analyzing those secrets, those traumas, that low self-belief that you're not good enough. Where does all that come from? So we reveal that so that we can heal that. And part of the healing is forgiving yourself and forgiving the situation. Taking a constructive look at who, what, when, why, and how. And then in the healing, you grow, realizing that you never had those characteristics or qualities that toxic qualities that those people had in your life had said that you had, or that you are worthy of being loved. Then what is it that you desire? What is a goal that you have? Is it building a business? Is it creating a course yourself, doing a podcast? And in that, stepping into your purpose, once you're clear of other people's shame and guilt, then you start living in your purpose. Then you start gaining the confidence that I can do this, because what was holding me back is no longer holding me back anymore. So that's what I do. I guide you through. I'm your support system. I'm your cheerleader. I'm your reprimander, amongst other things. So I am a tough coach. This is your life. I've already gone through it. And I'm showing other people how to go through it, how to take these steps to get you through to the other side, which is your destiny. And it's never too late. It's like, oh, well, I'm 50 or 40 or 30 or whatever. And, they say that if you reach this age, you're never going to be anything. And that's them. See, that's a form of gaslighting. I know women who are from the age of 40 to 60 who started living in their purpose and get those checks. They have that partner. They have that house. And it's not about material things, but we all dream. It's not that we worship them, but we all want to be comfortable. We all want to be satisfied. Because there are too many people that I see who fill themselves up with drugs and alcohol and sex and traumatizing other people. If you're interested, please click the link tree and you will find all my information on there. And okay, let's get to it. So, post cluster B personality disorder relationship symptoms can be and are not limited to. And this is what I went through. So one of them is mental fog. And that's when your brain feels very cloudy. For me, I'm a very sharp person. I'm very clear. And when my brain starts feeling foggy, like I can't make a straight decision, or I get confused as to sometimes where I'm going. And I've been doing, like, let's say if I'm at work and I'm doing the same thing over and over again and I'm writing my time down and all of a sudden I forget the time. That's that cloudiness. That's that mental fog. Where you're kind of just there, but it's like you're like literally almost like your head's in the clouds. Another one is the irritation. The reason I believe that, just again, talking from my own experience, if you guys have felt something different, please comment below. But my irritation came from knowing that these guys, cluster B persons that had been attacking me for so long, I think it was awareness, an energetic awareness that what they had been doing, how they had spiritually affected me. It's that irritation too of not knowing if this is, because these cluster B personalities will go on a break. They exhaust themselves. And also if what they've been doing is not taking, they have to take a step back and go do some more research. What spell can I do? When is the Mercury retrograde or the next full moon, so I can start preparing now, because that's what they got to do. If they're also using gang stalkers and cluster Bs who are using witchcraft to enhance their control, they have to prepare weeks before, get that, build up that energy, so that way when the full moon does hit, boom. So that was that irritation. It's just not knowing when they're gonna, if it's really over or is it gonna start again. And two, I guess this is very important, is having them still obsessing. Like you can feel their energy on you, even though they're nowhere around you. You've left, you've moved on with your life. It's that type of irritation, and they are stalkers. They feel entitled. You are their property. You got away. So, but they know that the rules of society, they'll get in trouble. So they have to work within the shadows. So, that's another source of irritation. So it's energetic irritation. It's stalking irritation. It's, is it really over irritation? Because they linger with you and we don't realize. At first, when it first happened to me, I didn't realize like exactly what was going on. I'm used to and again, I never have dated any of these guys. It's just the nature of their mental disorder is to obsess over somebody that is high vibratory. That's what they do because they want it. They want it. It's theirs. They're going to get it by any means necessary. And when you continue to resist them, the harder they come in, the more the different things that they start thinking up. So, anyway, that's for that. Glitches is something that I've experienced. Like your eyes may play tricks on you because your brain is healing from the abuse. What did I write? Looking for something that you know is there, but you can't see it for a time. That's how it's manifested. Like glitches. Sometimes and it's so weird. And I wrote it down because I thought to myself, somebody else has to have been going through this too. It's a weird occurrence when it happens to you. So let's say I'm looking for my wallet. All of a sudden, my eyes can't focus. I know where I put my wallet. I know that it's there, but where I can't actually see it. You go away for a while, you come back there, it is there. So it's a part because your brain has been affected by the psychological and energetic abuse. It's been traumatized because it's trying to process all that. So, and with people using witchcraft, mind swapping, body swapping, constantly bombarding you with love spells or destroy all spells or death spells or whatever. A lot of times we don't understand that even when we're walking, we may not be thinking because there's no trauma happening to our brain that's visible. But as we're going through, what we're looking at is affecting us. What we're smelling is affecting us. What we're listening to, what we're hearing in the ambience of on the streets is affecting us. Our brain is constantly working. When we get out of that, when you rise to a higher place and that washes away at a certain level, you have to heal. So your body is healing. Your mind is healing. Your organs are healing. Your digestive system has gone through trauma because of the fight, flight, or freeze. And if you're an earth sign, I know for me as a Virgo, my digestive system has a lot of healing still to do, which is why I do intermittent fasting and a lot of smoothies and green salads. So just to help that process along. Just the glitches with seeing something and not seeing is not being there, looking for stuff and knowing that you saw it and it's not there or whatever. And so I think that could be some residual too, again, energetically, some residual from them constantly being in your energy field. Because even if they're not there physically, they're there energetically because they're fragmented spirits. So they're going to keep track of you, keep an eye on you, whether they're physically there with you or not. Another thing is feeling empty because you just got through going through this battle for your life. And even though nobody held a gun to your face, some may have not been subjected to the physical trauma, but it's the psychological trauma day after day after day. Because with gang stalkers and, again, like I said, gang stalking is the cluster B's utopia. It absolutely is. Somebody's not following, the grooming, isn't taking to it. So, hey, let's force them to do that. Let's force them to be compliant. Let's push them into this emotional or spiritual Stockholm syndrome. When all is said and done, and when that person actually leaves for a time. Now, he said these guys obsess, so really they can obsess for the rest of their flipping lives, unless they die or something happens to them where they have to take the focus off of you because they can't expend that energy anymore. Then you feel that emptiness because it's their energy, it's their toxic spirit that's taken up so much space in your energy field. even physically with the gang stalking constantly every day, you've gotten to know these guys' patterns and how they're going to gaslight you because they got your schedule down. And when you change up your schedule, then they do something else, and they adapt to it. Or they come and try and do a real street theater display and to try and get your attention, because the last thing that they need you to do is to ignore them. Again, gang stalking is the cluster B's utopia, because the narcissist, the psychopath, the sociopath, etc., does not like being ignored. They hate being gray rocked, if not more than they hate being discarded and not being the one to discard. It's all about power and control. So when that oppressive energy is gone, there's an empty feeling and a little bit of fear, because it's like, okay, can I start my healing now? Can I move forward? I remember when it was finally over with the gang stalking for me, and I was like, okay, can I go on a train without having people hop on it and taking my picture, or I have recognized as flying monkeys? Can I do that? Can I recognize them without having to get my guard up or whatever? Or can I go to the gym, or can I go shopping without being shadowed, without hearing some word salad, some constructed dialogue between two quote unquote shoppers? Can I work out at the gym without somebody trying to spray an acid on me that's burning my skin? All of which I've had happen. Can I walk my dogs around the block without somebody trying to set it up so that the girls get hurt or are attacked by another vicious pit? You just take a step back. You breathe. You clear your chakras. For me, I do my mantras. I have a ritual, and basically I do it all throughout the day. But when I get up in the morning, I have prayers that I say and I have mantras that I chant. If I'm feeling anxious, then I clear my chakras, because my root chakra is the problem, my sacral chakra is the problem, and they need to be cleared out. So it's a constant, it's maintenance. It's getting yourself back to health when, for that empty feeling. And then it's gradually, it's just starting to do things that you like to do. For me, I like going to the gym. I like walking my dogs because it's exercise for me too. I like being out. I'm an outdoorsy person. So, but I haven't been able to do that in so long. So until now. So when you get in, you just kind of ease in, don't be hard on yourself. Just take your time. Just recognize that, okay, it's because everything's calmed down and I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, and I'm gun shy right now. So, but just, take it up and to fill yourself up with positive affirmations that you say, you record yourself and you listen to them at night to boost up your self-esteem, to remind you of your purpose, or to get you clear on what your purpose is. Because when you're not thinking those negative, toxic things that they said that you were, to get you to feel ashamed and guilty for how they are actually feeling and what they actually do, then, you gravitate towards those things that are going to help you on your path to get to whatever it is that you are interested in. So that helps with the emptiness. Giddiness. Now, I don't know. I think the giddiness was coming because it's like, okay, when I was younger, my spiritual mother and I would talk, and I asked her one time, just about spiritual things. And I asked her one time, I said, Ma, how come sometimes I feel giddy for no reason and I don't know what it is? And she said, it's because your soul knows what's coming for you and they're happy. She said, because your soul knows what's in store for you, the good that's coming for you, and they're happy. That's what I was reminded when I started feeling giddy. Because it's happened before, but not all the time have I been under this gang stalking. So that's the giddiness. Confusion. There's sometimes where, all of a sudden you may not know your left from your right. And I think that ties into the mental fog as well. Again, it's always like at work. Okay, so when am I scheduled to work? And then all of a sudden I'll be like, okay, so I know I got to be here at this time, but does that mean that I have to, you know what I mean? It just things that because you've done it for so long. I've been working for this company for about 2 years, so I know my schedule. I know what when I'm supposed to arrive, all this stuff, but then suddenly I'm confused about it. And that could be too residual from overthinking or over having to always be analyzing a situation that nobody else sees because they're not going through the gang stalking, the gaslighting, the harassment, the slander. They're not seeing the street theater because it's not energetically directed towards them. Because nobody's doing, and see how gang stalking and witchcraft go hand in hand is that in order to prime you, they have to cause stress and anxiety in you. Now, if you're sitting in your home and you're calm and you're finally relaxing, you're zoning out because you're watching Netflix or whatever, what better way to get you riled up and in a state of fear than to have somebody astral project or remote view and induce that into your subconsciousness where you start acting it out. I've had fears about money and I'm like, wait a minute, I looked at my bank account. I'm good. There's nothing to fear. So this isn't coming from me. This is coming from them. And then easily shut it down. See, the more tools and skills you require because you've healed those wounds, you've forgiven, you've grown, and you're showing them that you've leveled up. And that really does put the fear of God in them. Because the thing that they're trying to keep you from doing is being better than them, especially on a spiritual level. Because the more you level up spiritually, it doesn't matter what they do physically. Because spiritually, when you level up spiritually, when you grow into your power on that level, you will know that, okay, no, this isn't me because I'm not that person. This isn't something that I would do. I can't adequately describe to you what it feels like, but it is absolutely empowering. It's empowering to see. It's like, okay, so yeah, I'm not going to say that, I'm body positive all the time, but I love me. And that means all of me, the good, the bad, the dark, the light, I love it. And when you love yourself because you know who you are and you know that you're always evolving and leveling up, they are no match for you. The cluster B personalities are no match for you. The gang stalkers are no match for you, right? Like I said, I can walk through a crowd of them and not blink an eye. And they'll try and induce a conversation with me. And my reply sometimes will be, I don't know you. And I'll keep walking. I've been doing that for a few years now. I don't know you. I had a guy this morning when I was, as I was getting off work, who was trying to induce a conversation. I had my headphones in. I'm listening to chill step music. I'm happy. I'm peaceful. And his look was really angry and entitled, like I was supposed to talk to him. I was like, no, I don't know what he said. And I just nodded and, kept bobbing to the music. And he kept right on walking, That's the power that you have when you go through the steps that I have for my clients. Reveal, heal, grow, and show. The next one is sadness sometimes. And this is healing. This is definitely your body purging. Definitely your body purging. Especially if you're, now everything that has happened. Because again, when you go through trauma, you don't process everything. You're not aware of everything. When you go into a car crash and you're, a car crash survivor, sometimes you can recall certain things. Unless you're that person who's like, okay, I'm going to turn on my hyper focus. My adrenaline is there. I have, ego precision sight. And so I'm looking at everything that's going on. Then you may be able to recall a lot more detail. But most of the time they just like, I don't know what happened. I was turning and boom, there we went. Then afterwards, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, more is revealed. Why? Because you're calm and your brain is able to process. When you're calm, your brain will bring back trauma for you to deal with, and it will overload you. It will be overflowing. So of course you're going to cry. of course you're going to feel sadness. Because who in their right mind, especially because many people who are surviving gang stalking, are surviving witchcraft attacks, are surviving relationships with cluster B personality disorders, persons, or have survived, they have gone through a lot of trauma. They've gone through a lot of trauma. You're not able because it's a constant barrage. They don't want you to be still. I know that my gang stalkers and the gang stalker witches did not want me to be housed, because when you're on the streets, you can't rest, because there's always somebody trying to get something from somebody, always trying to make somebody into a victim. So you're always hyper aware. So of course you're going to cry. Of course you're going to feel sad because nobody else was there for you and they called you crazy. The topics that I talk about, people would call me crazy, but now it's all coming out thanks to the lockdowns and people actually having to take a look at themselves. That's why I said, when you're still and you're able to be calm and there are no distractions, the brain will bring up what you thought that you've already dealt with or was never a big issue, or what you just wanted to keep deep inside. All that will start bubbling up to the surface. That's step one, reveal. And so this is a good opportunity to start writing things down, using my workbook, booking a coaching session with me, writing these so we can go through this and write this down. Where is this feeling coming from? Right? And then you heal from it, you grow, and then you show by continuing to, that discarding that pattern and going for a new one, going for a healthier you. A healthier belief system, healthier people, or just taking the time pretty much to love yourself. Uncertainty is, and I wrote this one down because I think there's an uncertainty again that, okay, has it actually stopped? Is it possible to stop? Because I've heard people say, I went through gang stalking for about 15 years. So, it's lasted a long time. And that was from state to the other state. And, not that they were really, talking to each other, but that it was it just gave me proof that it was happening all over in hindsight. I was like, okay, this is happening all over. That's why you'll have people in Japan, Mexico, UK, Africa talking about, countries in Africa talking about, hey, yeah, we're going through this and these guys keep doing this noise pollution, this, color gaslighting and driving by, doing weird crap. And so it's all over. So it's like the uncertainty is, where is my life going and can I rebuild it? Do I have the time? Is there clear space to be able to heal, to be able to move on and enjoy my life without being harassed, without having somebody stalking me or slandering me or whatever. But again, it's not that you're not going to have people who are not going to have cluster B personality characteristics or be a cluster B themselves. But going through the 4 steps to a new life, to a new you, to a new empowered you is how you block them. Is how you keep them out of your life. When you know that you have power and that you're not this wounded child or anything else, that you're not, the learned helplessness is gone because you realize that you've had power all along. Then you can get through that. But the uncertainty comes from, it's like, okay, well, is this really real? Because I've started so many things and they've sabotaged this, they've sabotaged that. I had people sabotage me from getting a business bank account. I had people sabotage me from getting into a tiny home the second year that I was homeless. And I had a job. I had more than enough to pay what they were asking. The only qualification was for me to be homeless, and I qualified. One of the ladies was a gang stalker, a flying monkey, and was told not to provide housing for me. And I would have paid a lot less than what I'm paying now for rent every month. So it's that type of uncertainty. And of course you have the anger. Like, these are basically just broken down processes of grieving. So of course you're going to feel anger. Of course. Because people came in and traumatized you for your beliefs, for not wanting to date them, for having more talent than them, the way you looked, because you didn't talk to them. For a plethora of reasons, you were traumatized. And the trauma the intensity and the extent of the trauma doesn't fit what you're supposedly accused of. Your political views. If you voted for Trump, there were people that were justifying gang stalking and sabotaging and slandering people. So of course you're going to be angry because these people, these creatures, have taken a chunk of your life. The next one is a bit erratic behavior, doing what you couldn't. So after all is said and done, it's like, that freedom. I know my mind was going, it's like, okay, now I'm going to go here. Now I'm going to go there and whatever. And of course I had to settle it down because it was too overwhelming. But I'm like, okay, we'll just take this piecemeal. But sometimes when we get out of oppressive, traumatic situations, there's a tendency to overdo what we haven't been able to do. I remember hearing women to say, well, I was in this abusive relationship for 15 years and, shit, I deserve to have some fun and I don't care. I'm going to sleep with everybody I want to sleep with. I'm going to do what I wanted to do what I want to do and all that stuff. And that's, of course you want to do what you were not allowed to do that you realized because you were under oppression. So sometimes that takes away the fear. That helps you heal that insecurity because you weren't able to do that certain thing or, to build that business or to do whatever. Now, if you're building a business, that's great. But I guess I'm talking about dating multiple people or cheating, just erratic behavior like that. And the synthesis is when everything just comes together, where you understand. And this doing the work, going through the 4 steps, reveal, heal, grow, and show. It's especially good to go through those steps because when everything starts coming together, you get the bigger picture as to why you were made a target. Not for anything that you did, but because who you are. That's why you were made a target. If you guys haven't realized, there's a lot of changes going on in our world. And not all of them are for the better. They're trying to glamour them up as if they're for the better, as if they're what everybody wanted. And if you haven't realized it, we live in a cluster B personality disordered country. We live in a collectivist narcissistic country where they believe that being white makes you superior, So we live in that type of country. And really, when you look at America and America's history, you will see a cluster B personality. If you were to treat America like a cluster B personality disordered person, you would see it. It's the same tactics, just on a grander scale by multiple people. And that's the definition of gang stalking. That's what gang stalkers do. So anytime you need to control the public, what do? You have the upper echelon cluster B personalities who are now giving tools, giving an arsenal to lower level cluster B personalities. As above, so below. So, but when everything starts to come together, that just, and it clicks for you. Like, this is it. Okay, I understand. Now I'm going to show by going through and living out my purpose. And maybe showing other people how you went through it, because your story is important. Do not be ashamed to tell your story. As I shared in another podcast, that for the longest time I was afraid. I was going through this training and to get into my purpose. And from a business sense, it's like, okay, how do I do this business structure? What is my target audience? But I'd never talked because of the culture. The dominant culture in those groups, I never talked about my being lesbian. I don't even say trans or whatever because I'm Generation X. And it's like, okay, well, right now I'm just grateful to be here. But I'm grateful that other people have had that platform to have that voice to say, well, really, I'm transgender or I'm pansexual. That's awesome. But I didn't even feel comfortable with saying that to them. So if I didn't feel comfortable with saying that within the group and being proud of that, not that I'm not proud of who I am, but I don't want the extra drama. I don't want somebody blocking my blessings, but it was still blocking my blessings because I wasn't able to express that even when I'm by myself and writing it down. I was glossing over it. I was moving around it. Now I feel okay. I remember the night that I says, like, you know what? This is actually my target audience. And I've known this all along. I've known it all along. Because gay, lesbian, and trans, we don't have that outlet. Again, for people, we're in relationships with people who are cluster B personality disordered. That's my alarm. Who are cluster B personality disordered. That's the audience that I'm serving. Because too many, and if you think about it, and I'll talk about this in more detail in another podcast, but just think about lesbian relationships. Like, I've never had a relationship with another woman that has lasted more than 6 months before I became celibate. Never had a relationship with a woman who wasn't need of surgery, emotional, spiritual, and physical surgery, where I was her mammy and not her lover. I've never had love reciprocated back to me. And I was like, okay, so what is it? Because I'm picking the same type of women. And really, now it's a red flag if a woman comes up to me and approaches me. Because if I can't tell somebody that I like them and, them feel comfortable. Now, I may be ugly to the person, and I understand that. I'm not, you know what I mean? Then not everybody is going to be my cup of tea, and I'm not going to be everybody else's cup of tea. So, and that's okay. So yeah, it's just being in those types of abusive relationship patterns as lesbians. When I was growing up, it was like a unicorn if somebody had been together for a year, let alone 10. You had the golden ticket, boy, I tell you. Because gay men were known for just, it's easier for them just to have sex and move on. Whereas women, they usually are alone or they're moving in the U-Haul too quick. There is something that is toxic with this culture. It doesn't matter if marriage is legalized. Who are you marrying? If you're marrying a cluster B personality, that's not going to be what good is the marriage? So you guys are my audience. And I hope that you will consider going through this healing journey. Eventually, I'm going to start having some classes and live chats. But I would like you guys to help me get to 1,000 subscribers by clicking the subscribe and clicking on the bells to be notified. I try and post every week, and there's sometimes where I will go on a hiatus. If I'm on a hiatus, that means that I'm doing some real good work. I have 2 more courses that I'm writing for everybody, and one's going to be on meditation and mantras. And the other one's going to be in expanded, upgraded from my mini course, which is So You've Fallen, Who Said You Can't Get Up, that I'm offering now for $97. That comes with 4 45-minute coaching sessions, and that really is worth over $300. So you're saving a lot of money. So get that, get prepped, get primed, and stay tuned. So, yeah. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for listening. Again, comment. Let me know what your experiences has been. If you guys have had any of these symptoms, what other topics that you'd like to hear about, what you're going through, DM me, hit me up on Instagram, Phoenixes Rising Academy, or it's just, Phoenixes Rising Academy, and on TikTok. And just remember to share this with somebody who needs it so that they know that they're not alone, and your blessings are in your ashes. Rise, Phoenix.